For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Happy New Year's Eve Day. We did this. I had the same problem last week. On Christmas Eve Day. Is it Merry Christmas Eve Day or just Merry Christmas already at that point? I don't even know. But anyway, you're joining me and that's the most important thing. How's it going today? Hope you had a very Merry Christmas. I am once again joining you live. You remember last week I'd said much of our December programming is pre-taped in the radio business. And so with this podcast, we kind of followed the same routine where by the end of November, we pretty much had everything locked down, and sometimes we would end up taping a celebrity interview or something about Christmas in the mix. But otherwise, I was long gone for that middle part of December and into January. We were on autopilot, as I already said. But I'm joining you live this time because, as I said last week, I didn't get into the Christmas spirit until a few days before Christmas. I'm still, by the way, if you can hear it, I'm still wearing my Jingle Bell slippers because now, this is the weird thing, right? For some reason, after Christmas is when I got into the Christmas spirit. Right, there's this week where you have between Christmas and New Year's where you're sort of like, do we keep all the Christmas stuff up? And then do we just, have those lights and everything for New Year's Eve? What do we do? It just seems like you have to go from one holiday right to the next. It just seems bizarre to go like, okay, well, we're going to have 3 days of nothing in the house then. No holiday, nothing at all. And so, yeah, we continue. Because you end up getting leftovers. We have the big family thing at my parents' house. So you end up bringing home... You're forced to bring home the leftover turkey potatoes because she's packing. My mom is packing those empty sour cream containers and plates and saran wrap and everything, and you don't even have a choice. I didn't even realize that she was making us, like 3 plates of stuff to bring home, but that's typically what happens every year. And so that's the thing is that you load up your gifts or whatever you brought there as well, and then it's like, oh wait, and she's got another bag. And it's just filled with a ton of food. So we continue celebrating Christmas well past the actual holiday. And as I mentioned last week too, we have extended family stuff as well too. That's the one thing it's one thing when you have your immediate family, and then as soon as you get in-laws, and then you have your mom and your dad's side of the family. So you theoretically, my in-laws are in Brazil, so this is completely different for me. I don't have to worry about that. But you end up having, in our family, some people have their Christmas Eve, with immediate family, whatever it is, and then the Christmas Day celebration with the immediate family. That's when we all kind of get together. And then for Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, for my fellow Canadians and our listeners over across the pond in the UK celebrate Boxing Day as well. We would then have my mom or dad's side of the family, so we have the big extended family one, and then a couple of days later, because you need a couple of days of rest, we would then have the other family. So if we did my mom's the first day, then we would have my dad's side of the family a couple of days later, or if my dad's was first, my mom would later. But could you imagine then if I had my in-laws here too? A Brazilian Christmas. I mean, that food alone, oh my God. So we would have essentially 5 days. I joked last week, I said we're practically Jewish because we just have that many days of celebration. So New Year's now is upon us, and we're going to take a quick break. But when I come back, I've got my philosophy about New Year's Eve that I like to share with you every year. Because I think it's a little bit more uplifting than the way people usually view the holiday. I'll tell you more about that right after this on The Scribble.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. Happy New Year's Eve day, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I am live, coming at you, live from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, if you need to know that. But it's kind of weird. I don't know that we've ever done a show on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, because in broadcasting, you're sort of, the star of the show is typically off. That's where you'll get the low-end anchors and hosts that are... I can say that now because I've earned that right. But I'm joining you live on this December 31st from chilly Winnipeg, Manitoba. Now, New Year's Eve is one of those times where people will go all out, right? You get those stupid hats, the noisemakers, whatever, because you count down to midnight. And for some reason, and maybe it's just kind of the idea, the mentality that, it's going to be a new year, it's going to be new. Well, look at what happened last year, right? Everybody was saying 2020 was such a terrible year, this dumpster fire of a year. Dumpster fire, right? Was kind of, or clusterfuck shit show of it, whatever. And somehow miraculously, like, flipping the calendar was going to change things. I never really understood that because I was like, so you just think that because it's you opened your new Chippendales calendar or dog calendar or panda calendar, whatever, that suddenly Corona's gone and it's all going to be better now? Come on now, get real. And I don't know, right? Because people were just like, we're just waiting for the year to end. Not realizing that, like, this stuff is just going to follow you. I didn't quite get that. And so now the same thing this year, right? We've got this repeat now with this Omicron thing that, 2021 was such a shit year. It's going to be a better year. No, I don't even think that I think people have come to the realization that it's going to be a one shit show of a year again. So it brings a question then, like, do you do this big celebration? Are you ringing out the new or bringing out the new, however they say it, out with the old, in with the new kind of thing? Or are you just kind of going, this is just going to be a continuation of 2020, 2021, so who gives a fuck then? Really, like, who cares? And it's sort of a weird, pessimistic, negative attitude to have, but that's just also the reality. Now, having said that, like I said, I'm never usually one to celebrate New Year's anyway, if you've listened to this. Not that you're going to remember what I said last year, but I've never really understood New Year's just for those exact reasons, as though, like, we're flipping a calendar and somehow it's going to be like, I never really got it. And what I've done over the past few years, because you have to remember that when I moved out of my house 14 years ago from my parents, I was on my own. This was back when I was single, and I didn't have anybody celebrating my milestones, my life, my career milestones, my accomplishments, my, just my personal accomplishments, my professional accomplishments. I didn't have that. And so what I've always done is, in April, when I celebrate the anniversary of my newspaper column website, speakfreewithjb.com, I end up kind of decorating and do, like, I have balloons and stuff, just because it's always something that I did. I started that back when I was at my parents' house, and I had, like, happy birthday signs or happy anniversary, whatever it was, because it was an accomplishment for me. I celebrated. It didn't mean jack shit to my parents, but it was a big deal to me. And I've continued on that tradition every April. And so come December, what I do, it's not, like I said, I'm married now, everything's, it's different, but I still do it because I reflect back. People go and say, well, I'm looking ahead to the new year, right? I'm going to make all these changes. I'm going to do things better. It's going to be a better year. I'm going to grow. Well, take a moment here. Let's not always write off the year that this was, because a lot of great things happened. Now, yes, you had some shitty times where, your grandma died, you lost your job because of Corona, this and that. I get it. We all had terrible things happen to us, right? I told you on the show last week that my golden retriever, my beloved dog of 13 and a half years, died, and so that's a tragic thing to look back on, right? I know that the year there were some really, and then by the way, we also had a rabbit. One of our pet rabbits died a couple of weeks after that. So I mean, you want to take a bad hit emotionally with pets, there you go. But here's what I do. Around this time of the year, like I said, we have that lull between Christmas and New Year's. I am typically off work, right? I'm not doing much around the house. You're loafing, as we say, because you've eaten too much, you've drank too much, you're kind of just hanging out. And what I do is I will go, and if I was hosting the radio show earlier in the year, or, I either scroll through my files on the computer or I go through the pictures on my phone, starting in January, and looking at all of the things that happened. Now, of course, when we come to August, when my dog died, that's a terrible, shitty month to look at, but I still do it, right? I don't gloss over it because it was a reality. I think that's where people try to, make it seem like, oh, it didn't happen. Well, you know what? It did happen, at least with, that was a big thing for my dog. I might not want to remember it and relive it moment for moment, but you still have to sort of give it a nod, you know what I mean? And so that's what I do, was that in January, I look at the pictures, I see what was happening on our radio shows, what celebrities I had met, what celebrity guests we had on the music shows and on the podcast. And, in April, we kind of had my official radio sign-off, even though I stayed on the air until June. So I'm looking back at the celebrities that called in as surprise guests. We had some politicians, we had some music stars, we had a lot of people. And then in June, when I signed off from the radio shows in Nashville, I was on the Grand Ole Opry stage, which was pretty fucking cool to be able to take my final bow on that stage, on the iconic Circle center stage. And just that experience as well, right? I mean, going to Nashville, I'd never been there before, meeting some of the celebrities that I had interviewed, by the way, over the years, to then meet in person. And I got a massive floral arrangement. I don't know if I ever told this story. I got a massive floral arrangement from Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood congratulating me on my radio retirement. I mean, come on now. Like, let's, right there, let's just take a moment. So I'm going through and I'm all these pictures. And the great thing is because there's so many good memories that you forgot because it's those bad ones that totally overshadow it, right? If I look back at last year, so 2020 or 2020, I think my grandma died, my dog died. There were just so many. Those are really the two sort of bad. Then the whole Corona shutdown thing and lockdowns, and it was just a really bad year. But it wasn't until I do this exact same thing last year, scrolling through the phone, and I saw all of the really, really cool, great, fun things that happened. We have our swimwear and underwear company called Happy Bulge. It was doing phenomenally, even though there was shutdowns, right? There was beaches and pools were closed. Nobody was vacationing. Nobody was going anywhere. Who needs swimwear, right? Aside from the fetish crowd. But we took a risk to go and say, we had ordered a crap ton of stuff to go to different Pride events and really, really ramp up that side of our business last year. And all of a sudden, we had booked Pride events. We had booked photo shoots with models. We had, ordered all of the product. We had boxes and boxes of product arriving, and it was already pre-ordered, so we can't stop it. We've already paid for it. It's already on the way. And it's just like, well, shit, what are we going to do with all this stuff? And it wasn't until about August where we thought, let's just do e-commerce. We had no desire to be an e-commerce store. None whatsoever. From the very beginning, we said, this is only a Pride thing. We fly into the city for the weekend. We set up the Pride booth, we sell a shit ton of product, and we get the hell out of there before you sober up and have regrets about your purchase. That's truly what we said. It's quality product, so it's not like, we're not ripping anybody off. But it was just easier. We didn't have to worry about shipping. We didn't have to worry about returns. We didn't have to... You're there, you're holding up the t-shirt, the underwear, the swimsuit, whatever it is. You can see it's quality product. You try it on, it's great, it fits, perfect, you're happy, go. And then we're gone. It was like a hookup. By the time you realize what happened, we're already out of town. And that's what we did. But then we had to pivot. We had to shift like most businesses did. And I got to tell you, it changed the course of the company. We actually, in that last few months from August to December, had done ridiculous sales compared to the 5 Pride events we had done in the year previous. And then for 2021, we have, it's been ridiculously, it's so lucrative. We really, really did a good job of, marketing it to people, spent really nothing on advertising, just had some great interactions with people, engagement it's called now, but, interactions, conversations, content that people really like, and then quality product. And it's just been so cool just to see people when they tweet about it, when they get their order. I compare it to like when I order something, from Amazon or Walmart or whatever. I'm not thinking to DM Walmart and go, hey, look at these shoes. The shoes came. I love them. And then going on my social media and promoting these shoes from Walmart that I got, because I've always sort of looked at that and gone, well, why am I advertising them for free? But these people who order from our company are so incredible that they will even take pictures of the envelopes and send them through social media or email them. Just pictures of the envelope that had arrived. And that's so cool because they've got this excitement about it. And again, they're stripped down and showing us pictures of themselves in underwear within 5 minutes. So, like, it's just, we've got such a dedicated customer base. We call them friends. We don't call them customers. But we've got such a dedicated friend base with the project. And then this year we launched Buff Boy Brewing Company. So coffee with half-naked men selling coffee. And you know, we've spun off Happy Bulge Swim Company into Buff Boy Brewing Company. Like, it's been so much fun. And again, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, are you going to be doing e-commerce and e-retail and all this other stuff? I would have said, I'm a broadcaster. I'm a best-selling author. I have no interest. But I dipped my toes in it. And it's just been really fun. It's been really fun. And now, is this going to be, are we talking Shark Tank type businesses here where we're going to go and get investors, whatever? No. It's just a fun little project that made Speak Free Media a shit ton of money over the past 2.5 years. We're heading to six figures on it, believe it or not. And our main focus is broadcast and print, you know, newspaper, books, and radio, you know, digital audio products. That's been our main focus. The swimwear line and the coffee company they're not even 50% of our focus. But we've just had such fun doing it. So, you know, when I look back at the things that we've done, you know, so this year we've done a few photo shoots, we've expanded the product line. It's just been really fun with that. So that's my point. Going back to what I just said like 5 minutes ago, is that you look back on the year and all the things that you've accomplished and what you've done. It's not just that everything has been gloom and doom. And I'm not even trying to be a motivational speaker. I'm not even saying, you know, look for the positive, be optimistic, be happy. No, I'm just saying, reflect on the year. It's so bizarre that we go and say, well, I'm going to get out of the year, and we look ahead. There's nothing wrong with looking in the rearview mirror and seeing some good things and boosting yourself up and having a smile. I think that's even more important now when we've had these 2 shit years of, you know, lockdowns, not being able to get together with people, whatever. Take a look at, you know, through your phone, what do you call it? The camera roll, phone roll, your image roll, whatever, the galleries, and just take a look, because it's, you know, I don't know, it's just refreshing to me. I really enjoy doing it. And so that's what we've been doing for the past couple of days. Send me an email. Tell me if you have any, I don't want to talk about New Year's resolutions because I think those are stupid, but tell me if you have any sort of traditions when it comes to New Year's Eve, like, or just looking back at the year. Like, what do you do? Do you, you know, burn the calendar as a way to go and say, like, well, it was a shit year, I'm looking ahead? What do you do? How do you celebrate the new year? How do you recognize the year that you're coming out of and then the year that's ahead? Send me an email. live@jbonair.com. live@jbonair.com. Back in a moment on The Scribble.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. I just realized after plugging Happy Bulge Swim Company and Buff Boy Brewing Company that we don't have commercials for those on this show. So let me give you those websites, everybody. happybulge.com, happybulge.com, and buffboybrewing.com. That's my husband's coffee line. He's Brazilian, loves coffee, and so that was sort of the inspiration for that. So you can support both of us. and you can use, let's give some discount codes. While I'm doing this, I'm sorry, there are codes that you can save some money. Use PRIDE20 to save 20% off, save 20% at happybulge.com, so PRIDE20. And then, because it's the coffee company is a spin-off of Happy Bulge, you can use the code BULGE15 at buffboybrewing.com, because Happy Bulge friends get 15% off their coffee products. So there you go. Look at that. We're informing, entertaining, and selling at the same time. One of the things that I've just got into, more so recently over the past month and a bit, is playing bingo. Now, let's rewind here, because when my grandma was living in a home last year, and then when the Corona shutdowns happened, I didn't get to see her for most of the year, right? But Wednesday nights, they would play bingo at the nursing home, and that was always kind of my night to go. My mom, my aunt, and my uncle would each take turns. They would each have a night that they would go, and then, the grandkids, my cousins, we would then, somebody would bring their kids on the weekend or whatever, and so her nursing home was not that far from me. When I was in Winnipeg, I was down the street, so I would just go there Wednesday evening. Sometimes I'd take her KFC. She loved KFC. There was one across the street. Take her some chicken, and then we go play bingo at 6:00. And so there was something where the anniversary of her death this year was on American Thanksgiving, so just a month ago, end of November. And I kind of thought, I want to go play bingo. Bingo was her thing. That's what I did with her. And when she died, and my mom, my aunt, and my uncle sold my grandma's house, she had the chandelier in the living room, and there were these I'm putting in quotation marks the word crystals. They were crystals, and each of the grandkids got one. And I kind of thought it was really strange, and so my mom gave this to me, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. And so earlier in the week, I was kind of like, I'm going to go play bingo at the casino. I think that they have bingo again. I've never done it. I'm not a gambler, right? We know I'm a best-selling author about a cheapskate book, so I'm certainly not sliding my money into slot machines and wasting money, but I guess there's just something about bingo, right? I don't know. It doesn't seem like, you're sliding $20 bills every few minutes. It's a little bit slower. It's a little bit more involved. I didn't realize that it's all computerized. You just have to press a button. You don't even have to actually listen for the numbers or anything. When your button lights up, you just press it, and that's how you mark your numbers. So I'd said to my colleague, Suzanne, you know her, right? She's been on the show a bunch of times. I said to Suzanne, let's go on Black Friday. And let's play bingo. Well, she had something to do earlier in the day, and I said, well, then meet me at the casino. Let's just go. And so I took my little Baba crystal, and I put it onto the machine where we were playing, and I won a bunch of times. And it was kind of funny because I don't believe in superstitions. I don't say, oh, Baba's watching over me. Baba was real. But I actually kind of just did it for something sort of silly. I'm like, well, I'll bring it, see if I win, whatever. And I did. I won almost. Hold on now. It was $110 or so. I won a bunch of games. The prizes were sort of small, but it's still $100 and some I didn't have before I went there. And I was just sort of like, it's actually kind of fun. When you go there with somebody, to me, the casino, my parents go quite regularly, and one goes one way, one goes the other. They don't really interact, and they don't see each other when they're there. I don't see the point of that. So when I go, I'm going with, a colleague or friend or whoever it is. I've since gone with my friend Lisa a couple of times, and we make an afternoon or an evening of it. So we will, she'll go and get a round of wine for us, and then I'll go and get a round of wine, and then we just sit and talk, and we have some laughs. We listen to the music that's playing in the background, and it's a social event. It ends up being really quite fun. So every time that I've gone, I've gone probably about five times now, because it's about a month. So I've gone about 5 times in the month. And oftentimes, believe it or not, it's just because I'm bored. It's because I had nothing to do, right? I said earlier, we usually tape all of our December radio programming, podcast programming. We usually tape it in November, so I have much of the month off. And so I've had time in the day where I'm sort of like, maybe I'll just go to the casino. Let's just go play bingo. And I've won every time that I've gone. Not a crap ton of money, but I've won. It's paid off to go, is what I mean. And so I went with my mom last Friday, and it was really quite funny because 2 Fridays ago, because it was Christmas Eve. I didn't go with her then. We went 2 weeks ago, and my mom, the first time that I went with her, she won $50 or so on the very first game. And I was like, oh, beginner's luck, whatever. We then went again a couple days later, and I won the first 2 games. So I won, $40, $30, whatever it was. We're not talking thousands. So it was, still a significant amount. My mom didn't win anything. So she calls it beginner's luck the first time she went. And then she ends up winning these small little games. The prize ends up being 60% of the sales of the game. So when you think about it, if you're getting 3 cards for $1, you're going to win 60 cents of that $1, right? So if there's 2 of us playing, the prize will be $1.20. If there's 3 people playing, the prize is $1.80. Or if there's 1 person playing 2 sets of cards, right? So either way, you've got 3 sets of cards, could be 2 players. So we're watching the prize going, and she's like, am I the only one who's playing right now? And I said, I want to see what happens, though. If you're the only one playing, the prize is going to be 60 cents. Like, and we're at a government-run casino. Like, you think that's pretty shitty if that's your prize. 60 cents, you're going to win. So you're actually losing 40 cents by winning bingo. It's kind of odd. So then I just said, okay, how about I'll join in too. So you've got the two of us that are playing for $1.20. And would you believe we split the pot? We split a 60 cent. We split $1.20. We each got 60 cents as the prize for bingo. But so again, it would end up just being funny where we're like, of the two casinos, because they end up sort of simulcasting in the two casinos in the city, and it's players in both locations. Of these two giant casinos, there's only two people playing bingo. And then the next game, which is very bizarre, the next game would be about $40 of a prize. So everybody, I guess, waits for the higher prizes. When it's these $1 games that are just kind of crap money, nobody plays. And it's clear, you can tell. And so we ended up winning that. We split a prize there. And so there was 60 or like 90 cents one time. And then she ended up winning $3. She ended up splitting a $6 prize with somebody else. And so I was just laughing, going, you won 4 games and you didn't even crack $10 in prize money. So it was quite funny. But so like I said, in the past, month and a bit since I started going on Black Friday, I've probably about 5 or 6 times I've won every time, and I've taken my Baba Crystal, and yeah, so it ends up just being kind of a fun thing, right? There was one afternoon when I went by myself, and it just wasn't there's nobody to talk to. Like, it was just sort of weird, I felt like I was one of those gambling addicts, the people who go there in the morning and then they're still there at night and they don't even realize how much time has gone by. I was sort of like, okay, I'm kind of done. Like, I think I should probably go. And I was only there for like 2 hours. It wasn't anything ridiculous, but yeah. So I've become a very, very old person playing bingo. But my justification is that I'm doing it for my Baba. I'm doing it for my grandma. So there's a family connection. That's how I justify my new bingo addiction. Like I said, it's something social. You could go to, you can go to sports events. You can do whatever it is if they're happening, right? With lockdowns and shutdowns or whatever. So if I can go, with a friend and I end up, playing $20, well, hey, that's more than, that's less than I would have spent on a hockey ticket. That's less than if we went for, dinner and drinks. We just instead had wine and, I put $20 into a bingo machine or like into a machine or a slot machine that I play bingo on, So, tell me if you have any sort of family traditions then that you kind of get into. If there's any significance, right? If it wasn't for that connection with my grandma, I wouldn't do it because, my husband thankfully likes playing bingo. When he came the first time for Christmas years ago, and we went to my parents' house, that was his big. He was into bingo. My niece got a bingo game for Christmas, and he was right into it. And he's teaching everybody the numbers in Portuguese, so he would say the number in Portuguese, and then everybody's trying to guess what it was. So it ended up being a really fun thing. So I've got this big muscle man, fitness model husband who likes calling bingo and playing bingo. So we are turning into old ladies in my house. We certainly are. But send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. And our final remaining moments of 2021 will happen right after this. I'll be right back.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter @The Scribble Show and @thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. Let me just quickly say then Happy New Year before I run out of time. But there's always this big debate now as to how you say the next New Year. I've always said 2020, 2021. I know I've said 2021 on the show this week and last week. But how are you saying it next year? Is it 2022? I had no problem with 1999, 1997, 1984, 1986, 1980. I had no problem with those. But for some reason, as soon as we hit 2000, maybe that's why, is because we made it 1000 then. And so then it was, it wasn't 2001, it wasn't 2002. But for some reason, when we got to 2010, everybody kind of started saying that. I don't know. I guess I'm just still stuck on that whole. It takes me 10 years to adjust, 20 years, I guess, to adjust to the new. So what will you be saying? Will you be saying 2022, 2022, dumpster fire year, year of Corona, Omicron, whatever the fuck, whatever. What are you calling the new year? Send me an email, live@jbonair.com. So again, like I said earlier, let's take a moment to reflect on the good things that happened over the past 12 months, not just, and there's no problem with looking ahead. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, you shouldn't have your eye on the prize for next year and what's going to happen. But, don't look at this year as like a total write-off, because it was 12 months of your life. And if Corona has taught us anything, and this is where it sounds so cliche, is life is short. right? So look back and appreciate the laughs that you had. And if you're going to, I'm not mentioning New Year's resolutions, but you know what? Hey, pick up a hobby like I did, in honor of my grandma, which is just going and playing bingo. I'm not telling you to start a gambling addiction, but you get what I'm saying, right? Try to find something optimistic. Try to find something lighthearted. There's just no sense in negativity. It's just worthless. Anyway, feel free to give me a shout anytime. It's always awesome hearing from you. Happy New Year, everybody. I will talk to you, same time, same place, I guess, but New Year next week, right here on The Scribble. My name is Jeremy Bradley. Till next time, bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a Speak Free media presentation.
If you want some real heat